Hello and welcome to this week's episode. And just before we start, I want to ask Jamie how he's feeling.
Jet lagged. I have been back to the UK for a little Christmas break. Great time, saw the family, and during that time, as you probably know, we put out a couple of special videos about how to become a liveaboard and how to buy a liveaboard boat. So that just bought us a bit of time, and now we're back on schedule, and we're going to be going to visit the Anambas once more in a few minutes. But first, we just want to quickly tell you about what's happening this year, because it's going to be pretty action-packed, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got loads of things going on. We've got to go and have, immediately after here, we've got to go and get the boat inspected for an insurance survey. We're then going to go head up to Thailand, where we're going to be doing some hauling out. We're going to be doing pirate jam again.
Yeah, we've got to build a Dodger bimini system.
We want to do that. We need a bit more shelter.
And then we're thinking of going back into Indonesia for a 6-month trip.
Yeah, well, we're looking at the Gulf of Thailand, Indonesia, all these things, all up in the air, but a rough idea of what we're doing for the first part of 2018. But something exciting after that is...
Oh, is this where we are saying that we're going to open it up to you guys? Yeah. And we are possibly going to be asking you to decide where we go. But we're going to talk a bit more about that after this week's episode. And I have to say, this week's episode I have been really looking forward to editing, because it was one of the highlights of our trip in the Anambas. And we spent a bit of time with some local fishermen, and we swapped Patreon t-shirts for fish and squid, and we went aboard their FAD. Now, we called it an FAD, a fish attraction device, but the jury's out as to whether that is an FAD or not.
Yeah, we were corrected, weren't we, by some other sailors towards the end of our trip there, who said, no, that's not an FAD. An FAD is a floating device which is not manned, and perhaps it's made of old oil drums, bits of bamboo, to attract fish. Well, I've since then done a little bit of homework, and there's something called a Bagan, which is a floating fishing platform, which I suppose is what we went on. And there's also something called a Rumpon, which is one of these strange, motley put together floating devices, which is taken out into deep water. And the idea is it attracts pelagic fish, but it's not really clear. So fish attraction device, it attracts the squid, it attracted fish.
Let's go and visit the Anambas.
Maybe our lives were not meant to collide from the start, but who could foresee the fall? Maybe it's time to decide what to do with the fact that it happens to us all. From time to time it all comes around, and no one knows the end. We're all building bridges slowly, tearing them down fast to start over.
So we're on one of the fish attraction devices. We saw them come in this morning. There are 3 of them and they're all tied up together. We're on the middle one. And as you can see, they're made of lots of timber, and they have their own living quarters inside, complete with sound systems, and they have little generators to give them power. We'll talk about the lights in a minute. But underneath they have these nets, and I presume these are the nets that they drop down to catch the squid. And yesterday when they came over to give us some chumi, some squid, we asked them if they have fish. So today they have brought up a live fish for us who's just down there. So that is going to be our dinner tonight, which is really nice of them. You can see this is presumably this is their catch from last night. This is the chumi inside a big bucket. What else is there? Well, it's like a little community here, but I'm going to ask them, if they live on here full time, and also if they have family as well, because they don't seem to go anywhere other than living on here. So we'll find out a bit more about them.
So this is where they live when they're out here on the FADs. There's a little place to do some cooking right here. Everything you need: gas cooker, wok, boiling water. All the implements are here. And then inside here, the most important thing in every single one of them has been a sound system. And it works well because we can hear it right on the other side of the anchorage. It's all very neat and tidy, and most importantly, it's lovely and dry. So yesterday when we had driving rain all day long, they would have been able to stay in here and keep out of the rain. Little bench here for sleeping, and I guess somebody sleeps on the floor, somebody more important sleeps on the little bed here. Hooks for clothing and all your other little basic essentials. We've got a phone down here, but there's no signal. I don't know how they can use it. It's actually really cosy. This is just reed. I think this is probably palm leaves here to make the roof, and simple struts here from local wood. We know it's local because yesterday when it wasn't raining we could hear the sound of trees being felled and branches being cut, which I guess they were using to reinforce and exchange some of the timber on here that may have started to rot. It's really comfortable. So there's a similar setup to what we saw on the squid fishing boats in Thailand. Of course they use green lights which they change to white, and then the squid comes shooting up. So here they have an enormous array of lights all around the boat. They are incredibly powerful white lights. You can see them right across the ocean at night. But they stop, they drop the anchor, and then they attract the squid with the lights, and then they drop these enormous nets which run the full length and width of each of their FADs, fish attraction devices. Very, very good. Obviously they catch a few other things as well. We've got a few fish in here, and we've got a little tiny turtle.
So struggling to work out if I'm at the front or the back of this thing, but you can see here the array of lights. So they've got a whole load of lights running up the diagonal frame here with plastic paint buckets to act as shades or to make them more directional. And then you've got these lights running across here. So essentially they've got lights pretty much all the way round the FAD. And as Liz was mentioned earlier, we've got this huge, great big net which runs the entire length and width of the FAD, which they drop down, presumably by using this mechanism here. And they've got a couple of generators over there. Now I'm not sure whether the generators actually provide just power for the lights, or if they also, it looks like, actually yes, they have a belt-driven system here. So presumably this belt will actually bring up the net. That's a big one. Who's big?
He's big.
You're big?
Tas.
Okay, thank you, sir. Large. Okay.
My name Arzian.
Azian.
My name Azmi.
Azwi.
Yes.
Azwi.
My name Aris.
Aris.
My name's Johedi.
Yohedi.
Yes.
Okay.
Johnny.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. Apakah Anda tinggal di sini sepanjang waktu?
No.
No.
No. No.
Sulon.
I from Anambas.
Which Anambas? Tarempa?
Yes.
Okay.
Tarempa.
So I just asked them if they live here all the time, and they said no, they don't. So they sound like they come from around about Tarempa, the main town. Berapa banyak hari apakah Anda tinggal di sini?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2
Okay,
weeks.
so I just asked them how long they spend each time on here. So they spend 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks here,
Yes.
and then 2 weeks
Yes.
at home.
Huh.
Okay, perhaps this might be dictated by the moon as well. It could be something to do with that. Who knows? But 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Yeah.
Nak Putri,
No.
you have a nak?
Ya, anak.
So how many years? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, so one. So he has one son, but I think he's the only one that actually has children. So no anak.
No.
No. Wife?
No.
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 There. No.
Okay, so this is our main man here, and sounds like he's single.
Single.
And so he's got one son, and these guys are all married, but no children yet. So they're too busy working on the FADs.
So I just got Google Translate out and asked them what they do with the turtle, and they take him back out tonight and they release him back where they found him. So that's a good news story. Well, that was a really special time there. The guys couldn't have done enough for us. They were so welcoming, and they forced fish on us and squid, and they wouldn't take any payment, so we made them take those t-shirts, and I thought they looked really good in them.
They did. I mean, those kind of moments are really special, and just to learn a little bit about what these local people are up to and how they live their lives is a real insight, and it's just, as I say, just a real treasured moment. I won't ever forget that.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, at the beginning of the video, we mentioned that we were going to hand over our navigation to you guys. Now, with our Patreon scheme, we are just about to hit our next target. We're kind of very close. We're sort of hovering around our next target. And the deal is that the goal is to hand over the navigation to our Patreons. So our patrons are going to decide where we go next.
Yeah, it could be anywhere, north, south, east or west. We don't know. It's up to you guys.
Should we actually be doing this?
I don't know. I'm a bit scared. We could be ending up going anywhere. Yeah, so become a Patreon, get involved in choosing where we go next. We'd be very interested to see what everybody has to say about it.
There'll be a link in the description below to our Patreon scheme. And of course, if you enjoyed our video, if you like this episode or any of our previous ones, then please do hit that like button. If you could share it, that'd be great.
That'd be brilliant.
And if you haven't yet subscribed, please do subscribe to our channel as well.
And don't forget to comment. We read every single comment and we try to answer them all.
Of course, if you're a Patreon, then we do answer all the questions.
do.
It's one of the things
One-on-one.
about being a Patreon is that we have a one-on-one dialogue with our patrons, and they can email us anytime, and we always answer all those questions. So, great. All right. Well, as Liz says, we've got a few more episodes of the Anambas. So this time next week, we'll be going off to the next island, I think.
We will. Can't wait.